Good morning, Unity of Bremerton. We're going to get started in a little different way today. And because normally I open with a big song, right? But today we're going to do a spiritual practice that goes back for thousands of years. I'm making this up. And the practice has to do with, well, you know, you all kind of got here, you got out of bed, you got your clothes on, you had your coffee or your breakfast, and you got here, and you're kind of on habit, sort of. This is your Sunday routine. And so you've got your liveliness dialed up, maybe halfway, right? You know, you're not going to turn it up all the way, right? Because this is just Sunday, another Sunday morning. Well, I want to encourage you and invite you to turn your liveliness up like a notch, just one notch. What's going to happen? Okay. Yeah, so we're going to sing a song. So that gets us back to what we normally do. But the song is called I Am Alive with the Spirit of God. And so in this song, you can stand up if you want to. You can dance around if you want to. You can sing aloud if you want to. You can clap on 2 and 4 if you want to. And just take up your aliveness a notch. Remember, this is a spiritual practice that's been going on for thousands of years. Right? It is. Much. Well, yeah. I'm sort of making it up. Okay. Thanks for your patience. All right. Jump in if you're ready to. I am alive with the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive, yeah. Alive with the Spirit of God. Okay, let's do that again. I am alive with the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive, yeah. Alive with the Spirit of God. Okay, take it up another notch. I am alive with the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive, no, alive with the Spirit of God. Okay, let's stop it now. I am alive with the Spirit of God. 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 I am alive, y'all. Alive with the Spirit of God. Yeah, you feel better?
Thank you, Leo Brodie, for waking us up. I appreciate that. Even though I've had 3 cups of coffee, I still kind of feel like, and you would think, oh, she must have had a late night out carousing, right? I was here for the Unity Thanksgiving potluck dinner. And if you missed it, you really missed it. Some of us had a really great time. And thank you all the loving hearts that prepared food and brought it last night. It was a wonderful event. But good morning to you. And I want to welcome everybody. Is there anybody with us for the very first time this morning? One person? Okay, did you get a red heart?
No, I did.
You did, good. We'll tell you more about that in a moment, but we want to welcome you. And before I go any further, I do want to give thanks to the people that help make Sunday mornings happen, because it doesn't happen by accident, folks. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And the last time you were here, Leo, I don't think we had our new monitors, and we've gotten some new technology equipment, and so we're thankful for that. One of our team that's responsible for all of this happening is Mark Swink, who's our technology guru. Thank you, Mark. And other people that help make the day happen is Mary Ellen will be our board member of the week. You'll hear from her in a moment. Ushers today are Mary Ellen and whoever else pitches in and helps Mary Ellen. Our chaplain of the day is Jamie McAllister. Jamie, would you just wave your hand? Okay, if you would like supportive prayer, Jamie's available for that following the service. And we do have a little chapel back here. So if you'd like supportive prayer, know that that's available to you. Our youth ed champion is Cindy Swink. And Cindy is one of those people that wears lots of hats. She's our board chairman, and she does all sorts of things behind the scenes. So thank you, Cindy. And our hospitality hosts today are Anne and Mary Ellen. And then the Spick and Span Angels, that's all of us. So if you can lend a hand with the cleanup, that would be lovely. Our office assistant is Susan Henderson. She does a lot of things behind the scenes, and so we're grateful for her as well. And I am your helpful platform assistant. I'm Debbie Clay. So wonderful. And shortly we'll be hearing from Reverend Annie Lonardelli. But first, I think we have some more music.
My heart is filled with love for you. 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 My heart is filled with love for you.
Thank you, Leo. So, I don't have an example of the red heart with me, but pretend I'm holding it. And, excuse me, what's that? What the red heart is all about is that if you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know that no matter where you are in your journey of faith, you are always welcomed here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each one of us, and we ask you to carry this as a symbol of the steadfast love within each one of us, the love of God, and share your heart wherever you go. The red heart, as a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. So, a few announcements. I'm going to be brief, but one thing I want to say is the chaplains, the prayer chaplains, are going to participate in the Christmas Eve service, and I did send out an email to the list of chaplains, but not everybody checks their email every day. So this is a reminder to the chaplains. We're planning to participate, and you didn't get an email because you don't have a computer.
Well, how about a printout?
Well, I'll tell you right now what's going on. Okay, so the chaplains are going to participate in the Christmas Eve candlelighting service, and we're going to have a planning meeting on December 3rd, which is a Sunday, after the service. So please plan on attending that, but we're going to help with the whole process. And if you need more information, see me after the service, but I just want to make that brief announcement for the chaplains. Okay, other things going on just want to mention briefly, let's see, Dr. Gail Gray is going to be speaking on November 26th, and he's a friend of mine. He's a marvelous speaker, so I'm looking forward to that. On November 28th, Suzanne O'Clair will be doing her New Moon Circle Spiritual Star Talks. Information is in your bulletin about these announcements, so you can look for more information in your bulletin on upcoming events. Excuse me. Okay, and now it's time for our weekly board report, and Mary Ellen is our board member of the week. Mary Ellen.
Are you up here?
Charlene, would you mind stepping up forward for a moment, please? Yeah. If you could come up here for us, please. So last evening, we had our Thanksgiving dinner, and we were,
You've been unfinished business.
we didn't get a chance to see her last night, so if you could come right up here. So every year, and this was my first Thanksgiving dinner with everyone in this community, so it was very special for Ron and I to be a part of it. And as a board member, I got to be involved with the thought process and selection of the Dove Award that is a tradition here at Unity at Bremerton. And the board thought that Charlene was deserving of this wonderful award for all the work that she does in the community for people who need food. So Charlene, on behalf of all of us, here's the Dove Award to honor you and thank you for your loving service. So thank you. I'm going to tell her out loud, if she needs help, she needs to let us know.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Charlene.
The food bag that we pass out each week, Charlene is the one that takes it from here and puts it out into the world, so thank you.
Yeah, I do.
Good morning. So our annual Thanksgiving dinner event was held last night, and thank you to all those who brought the wonderful food and helped with the cleanup and setup. And then you met the Dove recipients. It was one of two others, Cindy Swink for volunteerism, and Mark for his work with all of our technical stuff. And we had a special note of appreciation was awarded to Sally and Jamie for their musical contribution for part of the month, each month. We're having an annual cleanup day next Saturday, the 25th, at from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will be doing a deep cleaning and organizing, and all are welcome to join. We want to remind you that we are live streaming our service. We ask that you keep your conversation down because it is being picked up, especially during the candle lighting and prayer burning. Also, please be sure your cell phones are off or on vibrate. Unity of North Kitsap has a weekly meditation on Tuesday nights, and on Tuesday, November 21st at 7 p.m., they're having a oneness blessing. Our blessing circle with Rose Rydell and Bill Mullen. Rose and Bill bring experience, compassion, and clarity to each blessing. There is adequate time for each of us to experience multiple blessings. We are starting a weekly prayer circle again on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Anyone is welcome to join us, and I believe that is starting soon, and we'll have to find out from Candace exactly when. But just kind of keep that in the back of your mind that that's coming up. We want to remind everyone that prayer request forms are available in the pocket on the back of the seats, and you can put them in the prayer box up front, somewhere there. There we go. And the chaplains are also available to pray with you after the service. And you can also put your prayer requests in the offertory bag, and then they'll see that they get up to the front if you don't have time. Calendars for 2018 are 50 cents each. Please sign up today and pay today to get this terrific rate. We will be placing our order soon. We will order extras to have available for sale in the bookstore, but the price will go up. Our next board meeting is December 10th. The board will continue to update you weekly. If you have any questions or concerns, please see a board member. Thank you. Also, the Flowers to Go sign-up sheet is out in the fellowship area. And for those of you that don't know what they are, it's a nice little card for $25. You get 12 bouquets, one a month, for a year. And part of the proceeds come back to the church as a fundraiser. So we'll have more information on that later. We haven't got the cards yet, but we're waiting for that to happen. So if you we don't need the money right now, but if you're interested in getting a card, please put your name and a contact number down on that form. Let's see, the Viability Committee is being headed up by Ron. Ron, will you raise your hand? So there's a sign-up sheet in the fellowship area. Please sign up to help us consider our options. And if you have any questions further on what that committee is, and please see Ron. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. I just want to make a note that the flower card idea is an excellent idea. Think of it as a gift to yourself, and also if you want to give to a friend or a loved one in this area, Kitsap County, it's a wonderful idea as well. The flowers, you have to go and pick them up, or the recipient has to go and pick them up from one of the local flower shops. It's printed on the back of the form. But anyway, I was the lucky recipient. Somebody gave me one of these gift cards for the flowers. So every month I get a free bouquet. And it's been such a wonderful blessing in my house. And believe you me, I think of that person every month and give thanks for that person, because it just brightens your life, right? So anyway, I just wanted to say that about the flowers. Okay, it's time to light the Christ candle, and this represents the Christ light that's within each one of us that we get to share with the world. On the screen is our mission statement. Can we say this together?
We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth.
Thank you. Okay. All right, and it's our invocation on the screen now. Let's say this together.
There's one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to have a time of greeting each other. I'm going to ask you to keep it brief because we will have fellowship time following the service, so we can have more greeting later, right? So we tend to be a hugging church. If you don't want to be hugged, shove out your hand real fast and greet you. Good morning.
I feel like getting up. I just went through all that to get settled down and stuff.
Good morning to you.
Hi, table partners.
Haven't seen you for a while.
Good morning.
Oh, okay.
Hey, have Marty
Never hear even name. Oh yeah, she wants to come, but she doesn't get it there.
Good morning, good morning. Oh, yeah, 68.
Okay, if you could wander back to your chairs, we'll have some more
Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to you. Is available to me. Through the mind of God. Everything I need to release about what lies before me. Everything I need to release about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Forgive. Everything I need to forgive about what lies before me. Everything I need to forgive about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to embrace about what lies before me. Everything I need to embrace about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Through the mind of God within me. Through the mind of God within me.
Today's daily word, grace. In grace, I release every sense of limitation. The spiritual idea of grace is often considered in terms of the related words such as grace, gracious, and graceful. They suggest a sense of grace as a quiet state of consciousness that helps to create an easy, peaceful life experience. Grace can be all of that, but it is so much more. Grace is the power I lovingly convey whenever I recognize and express my Christ presence. The Bible reminds me that Stephen, one of the earliest converts, being full of grace and power, did great wonders and signs among the people. In expressing the quality of grace, I find the clarity, peace, and power to accomplish the spiritual work that is mine to create. In grace, I release every sense of limitation. From Romans 6, verse 14, for sin will have no dominion over you. I like that. For sin will have no dominion over you, since you are not under law, but under grace. Today, in grace, I release every sense of limitation. God bless us.
Amen. So I'm going to sing a song called I'm So Grateful. Reverend Annie's going to be talking about gratitude later. So to really get into this song, it was written by Karen Drucker, and I've seen her perform this song, and she really wants people, she has worked out some gestures. The idea being that by using the gestures, You involve not just your head, but your body and your heart to really feel it. So, it's not an exact science. You don't have to worry about being right or wrong. But the idea is it goes gratitude before me. And you can put your arms out in front. And then gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me. Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. So, I welcome you to join me. It's fun. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me. Gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. 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 Thank you. All right, now, this next song is not about giving thanks, but it's about Thanksgiving. So at Thanksgiving, a lot of us have, at least we're lucky, if we're lucky enough, we have family coming over. Like from out of town, or we're going out of town to visit family. And sometimes, well, I don't know, sometimes that brings a little stress. Like unexpected stress. Different people, different ways of thinking, and you just kind of have to, and old dynamics sometimes that come to the surface. So anyway, this song was written by my friend Eddie Watkins Jr., and he wrote it kind of from his personal experience. It's called "What Would Love Do Now?" So you can think of this song when you have those moments. Let me make sure. Hang on. Excuse me a second. Okay. What would love do now? Right. Sorry. This is important. So I just want to get it right. Just before you say something you can't take away, breathe in and let it out. Stop and think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. Ask yourself inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself inside, what would love do now? 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 What would love do now?
Good morning. Good morning. Beloved community. Let's take a little time to join in a meditation together. So I invite you just to get comfortable and relax. Just quiet your mind as best you're able. And take a few gentle, deep breaths. As you settle into the sanctuary of your heart. And simply become aware of your breath, just noticing naturally that yes, you are here now, resting. And life is moving through you without any effort on your part at all. And for this ease and grace and miracle, say silently to that breath of life that has shown up as you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We give thanks. We give thanks and are grateful for all that has served us thus far. We give thanks for the new ways of being that will take us even further. We are grateful that in God we are loved and cherished deeply, deeply, and forever. We are grateful for the ordinary things that reveal their extraordinary blessings. We are grateful for the light and wisdom that dispels our confusion and reveals clarity. hidden veins of light in the deepest shadows. We are grateful. We are grateful for these sacred threads of connection, for loved ones seen and unseen, near and far. Thank you. And thank you for the love that surprises us with the warmth of all that is offered here, in friendship, in service, in healing. Thank you, God, for allowing us to make a difference for one another, for the great good fortune of being here now. And now, in silence, turn toward whatever is grateful in your heart and say, thank you, for this is how I have been blessed. And so it is. Amen. You know, I've been serving in these Unity churches for many years now. And it seems to me that communities like these might well be called something like the Church of the Eternally Grateful. Because Unity churches and Unity people, especially, are some of the most grateful people I've ever known. Have you noticed that? You know, many times on these kind of cold and gray and dreary Sunday mornings, I'll walk into a church like yours and I'll be met with this warmth and welcoming and this greeting. And someone will say, "What a beautiful morning." What a beautiful morning. In fact, I heard that a couple times today. With such sincerity. And what inspires me about that and what touches me so deeply is that you can see the truth of it. That it is a beautiful morning. It is a beautiful morning, whatever the weather. And so I know that you already know a lot about this subject, gratitude. And it is my honor to be able to share this conversation with you this morning because I do believe that it is this topic that has the potential of making the most positive and meaningful difference in our lives. It can change our lives. Gratitude, not some kind of light and airy way to escape and deny reality, but as a choice, a powerful spiritual tool. And it's not uncommon for our challenges and our tragedies and our difficulties to actually turn us towards gratitude. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive unless you've been there and you know exactly what I mean. But loss turns us towards each other with renewed appreciation. And appreciation for all those who tend and befriend and rebuild. You know, sometimes gratitude comes to us just like this, in a backdoor kind of way. You know, the accident that didn't happen but could have. Or we have a really terrible cold and then one day we just turn the corner on it and we can breathe again. Or we're lonely and miserable and feel misunderstood. And then someone reaches out to us and is kind and attentive. And suddenly you love your life again. Yeah. You're grateful that the accident didn't happen and that your body is healed and someone has remembered you. That sweet appreciation, that gratitude is one way that we experience love in our lives. And as much as we already know about the grateful heart, and we do know quite a bit, we need to be reminded because the concerns of life and fear and loss will rob us of easy gratitude. Fear and grief will snatch away our gratitude just when we need it the most. So we can benefit from exploring this jewel in as many ways as possible for our own peace in times of unrest, and as a way to bridge the gap in this national discourse that we're having right now with our family and friends. It's a powerful spiritual process, and it's a moral choice, because beneath the surface of so much of this public discord, so many people are suffering from a gratitude deficit. What's missing is a deep appreciation for the gifts that we enjoy in this country, for the diversity and the personal freedoms that so many have contributed and given so much to preserve these very values. And a gratitude deficiency is so severe, it's convinced a lot of people that everything is wrong, that nothing is working, they're all going down the tubes. You know, it is an ancient wisdom that gratitude is the glue that holds families and societies together. It holds relationships together. You know this. You know how you feel when someone appreciates you, and you know what happens to a relationship when that appreciation is not expressed, when you feel unappreciated. The power of gratitude. Being ungrateful and ungrateful contributes to societal breakdown. And we mustn't feel smug about gratitude and people who have a gratitude deficit just because we're so good at it. Because it can happen to any of us anytime. Most of us have experienced some kind of a deficit in gratitude at some time or another when we forget. When we forget that we belong to each other. So we have to have some compassion and some real heart for the condition of forgetting itself, because when we lack gratitude, and you know this, you've experienced this, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, when you are mired in complaint and negativity, you are truly suffering. You are truly suffering. And life without gratitude is hell. Gratitude affirms the goodness, the gifts, and the benefits. And practicing gratitude helps us more fully experience enough. When we are so busy, unconsciously rushing towards getting more, says Lindquist, who wrote The Power of Money. She says, when we are so busy that we're unconsciously rushing towards more, we rush right over, right past enough. We don't even notice it. It's like a speed bump, an inconvenient speed bump. Here's the good news. Researchers are telling us that it turns out that gratitude and a grateful heart and a grateful disposition bridges the gap between us, between red states and blue states and Democrats and Republicans and Muslims and Jews and Christians and atheists. It could be called a miracle in its ability to heal and comfort and inspire and energize us. And here's another one of gratitude's miracles. It can bridge the generation gap when we seem like strangers to each other. A friend of mine, and he had taken notice of his granddaughter's sort of generalized unhappiness. And he became concerned. And he was wise enough to know that it may not be likely that she's going to openly share her problems with him or listen to some advice from someone of his age. So one day he opened up a conversation with her instead and told her how gratitude had helped him at different times of his life, how it had given him a boost when he gave some attention to some beauty in life or some little thing that he appreciated. And so he proposed that the two of them exchange gratitude text messages on a daily basis, every day, something you're grateful for. Now, his intention wasn't just to lift her mood, but to teach her by example how to develop an awareness of life's blessings, how to pay attention to the small things as well as the larger gifts. And so they've been engaging in this exchange every day. Every day he sends out his gratitude intention. Now imagine having a grandfather like that. He's not just delivering a lecture, like we like to do, not just delivering a lecture, but he's showing her the way, showing her this is how it's done. And when she responds and shares, and when he responds and returns that message, both of them are so blessed. It lifts them both up. We can bridge the gap between us with gratitude because almost anyone, with the exception of a true narcissist, can experience the energetic uplift of a grateful heart. But we need to model it and teach it and cultivate it. You know, like some of you probably, I grew up at a time when children were taught to acknowledge gifts by writing thank you notes. Remember that tradition? That's sort of, I know it's kind of over.
Not for some of us.
Good. The emphasis was on the giver in those times. It was really on the giver, even more so than the gift. It was about recognizing and appreciating that someone had thought of us. And then there was a shift, and it went out of fashion, not with everybody. But children weren't encouraged any longer to write thank you notes. The emphasis changed to the gift itself rather than the giver. So if you didn't see the value in the gift or you didn't like the gift, we were exempt from extending a thank you, or maybe we just didn't feel like it. We just didn't feel like being grateful and saying thank you. That's all right. We let that go. But here's the thing, friends. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It's not just a feeling, not just positive thinking, but it is a carefully, intentionally, deliberately chosen way of seeing and being in the world. So we drop the ball, some of us, at the expense of relationships, at the expense of cultivating gratitude itself, and the expense of teaching our children how to be happy. One of my favorite books is a book called Thanks. thanks. How practicing gratitude can make you happier. And it is the work of Dr. Robert Emmons, who is a researcher and professor at UC California, Davis. And he has done years of research on gratitude. And this book and his research offers so much for us to think about. And it's also deeply inspiring and spiritual. He says that gratitude is emotional prosperity. Gratitude as emotional prosperity. It is the developed, cultivated ability to appreciate gratitude and the gifts of the moment. He says, and this has been well documented, not just one or two little research projects, but well documented with hundreds and thousands of people, that gratitude is literally one of the very few things that can measurably change people's lives for the better. It has the strongest links to mental health, life satisfaction, than any other personality trait. More than optimism, more than hope, even more than compassion. And the measurable benefits are better health, better coping skills when stressed, more resilience in the face of trauma. Grateful people are at less risk for developing anxiety and depression disorders. They demonstrate a greater sense of well-being. And especially meaningful is that gratitude brings with it the insights of the workings of interdependence and how we're all connected, how we are all one. I would say that, yep, gratitude is emotional prosperity, and it's also spiritual prosperity, because it helps us sustain our spiritual consciousness and energizes us to hold on to the beauty of life rather than feeling defeated and overcome by sorrows and conflicts of the world. It's how we bring peace. It's how we bring peace into the world of hurt, and gratitude is especially important when it is most difficult. Reverend Eric Butterworth, a beloved Unity minister in the classic Spiritual Economics, he quotes Paul, who says, "In all things, give thanks." Right? Butterworth says, "In all things? Really? Is that practical? Or possible?" Let's look at this again. Paul did not say, "Give thanks for all things." But that's been interpreted that way, and used to justify poverty and encourage people to give thanks and be patient in hardships and dismal conditions because they'll get their reward in heaven. But Paul says, be grateful in all things. We may not be grateful for our challenges and our sorrows and losses, but we can be grateful in spite of them. Without denying the hardships or challenges that are also present. So a gratitude disposition, it's a conscious approach to life that helps us withstand the gains and losses and helps us cope by offering this life-changing perspective. And Emmons, he's urging us to develop this well-honed gratitude disposition as a way of life, not just as a momentary feeling of gratitude, but awareness of how interconnected we all are, how we need each other. We need each other to move through this life. How many of you read a book a few years ago called The Art of Happiness? It's a book about the Dalai Lama, yes. It was written by a medical doctor, Howard Coulter. And this author followed the Dalai Lama around, and he recorded some of his teachings. And the author was especially proud of his independence. You know, one of those very resourceful people. Like we see a lot of those in the Northwest. I can do it my way. Yeah? Very, very independent. And he said, as I was listening to the Dalai Lama talk about our interdependence and our interconnection with others, he writes, I felt an instinctive resistance to it. I consider myself to be an independent person, he wrote, self-reliant. I pride myself on this quality, in fact, and secretly I tend to regard overly dependent people with a kind of contempt. It's a sort of weakness, he said. But one afternoon, as I listened to the Dalai Lama, something happened. He was speaking about our dependence on others, not my favorite topic, and my mind started to wander again, and I found myself just absent-mindedly removing a thread on my shirt sleeve. So I tuned in for a moment and listened as he mentioned the many people who are involved in making all our material possessions. And the author says, I began thinking about how many people were involved in making my shirt. I imagined the farmer who grew the cotton. Next, the salesperson who sold the farmer the tractor to plow the field. For that matter, the hundreds or even thousands of people involved in manufacturing that tractor, including the people who mined the ore to make the metal for each part of the tractor, and all the designers of the tractor, and then, of course, the people who processed the cotton and wove the cloth and cut the cloth and dyed the cloth and sewed the cloth. The cargo workers, the truck drivers who delivered the shirt to the store, the salesperson who sold it to me, not to mention all the elements in nature that were involved, the sun, the rain, the earth itself produced all of that. And then I realized that virtually every aspect of my life came about as a result of the efforts of others. My precious self-reliance was a complete fantasy, an illusion. And as this dawned on me, I was overcome by the sense of interconnection and interdependence of all beings, and I felt a softening. Something shifted. He says, I don't know what it was, but I felt myself begin to cry. Well, of course, it can be difficult to sustain that kind of gratitude disposition. We forget. We take things for granted. We have other expectations. And Emmons, the researcher, recognizes that, and so he offers a lot of practices for keeping gratitude fresh and real in our lives. See, gratitude is the activity of paying attention, noticing not just the big blessings, but the simplest of events or favors that we find available to us every day. So we're going to allow ourselves to come upon grateful moments, even more so. I'm especially fond of collecting the smallest gratitude moments I can find every day, because the big ones will find us. But it's really, the work is to begin collecting the smallest gratitude moments, and you find it's like a treasure hunt. Notice, for instance, that message of resilient and that little tiny leaf, that little feathery green leaf coming up through the cement, the crack in the cement there. Wow. 13.8 billion years to get us here, my friends, to this moment right now. We turn on the faucet and that water flows. Oh, clean, fresh water. The smallest victory in the world of stuff, stuff, dealing with stuff all the time, In her list of gratitude, one woman in Emmons' book said that she was grateful that she didn't grind up any silverware that day in the garbage disposal. So Emmons says, one practice that helps develop a gratitude disposition is keeping a gratitude journal. Does anybody do that? Keep a gratitude journal here? He says 2 or 3 times a week. That's all, just 2 or 3 times a week. Not every day, 2 or 3 times a week. Has shown remarkable results in people's lives, and this has been well documented. There's something about writing it down, that really translates our thoughts and words into words and proves to be more beneficial than just saying them out loud or thinking them. Writing reinforces the habit and discipline of gratitude. So be very specific. The truth is in the details. Draw out the details and include specifically what that gift meant to you, what need it fulfilled. A woman came up to me a few weeks ago and said she had been doing this practice for 20 years. And she said it has saved her life. This little practice. It's all so simple. We can do this. We can have more gratitude if we systematically train ourselves to pay attention to what's going right in our lives. There's a strength in gratitude that sustains us in that most difficult times. And this is a common experience among people who experience loss, that gratitude provides a source of courage to help us get through the days and helps us fall in love with our lives again. It gives us another perspective. It helps us slow down into seeing and listening and paying attention. And I would say, and I do believe this, that among all the spiritual practices that we have out there, this is the most important spiritual practice. It is our refuge. It is our strength. It is how we move out of the hell we have created or are experiencing to creating heaven on earth. You know, I hear spiritual people these days asking what I can do about this divisive climate. And spiritual people like us have a very confusing time of it, I must say, trying to figure out how to make our values known and how our values can make a peaceful difference in the world when we don't preach and we don't try to convert, yet we want to make a difference. Yes? Yes. So I would say, gather your grateful stories and your grateful moments and be prepared to spring them on the unexpected, on the unsuspecting, on the depressed and the fearful. Start collecting those gratitude moments every day. Write them down, in some way record them, and really begin to think about what you're grateful for in this country, what it has been like to be inspired by the selfless actions of others, so that if you find yourself in a situation where you're with someone with values that differ from your own, which you might, especially over the holidays, you can share your stories, inviting others to tell theirs about what they're grateful for. Just standing together, listening to their blessings, and celebrate life with them. Now, certainly, gratitude isn't the only thing we need to do to find our way back to each other. But it is one way. It is a powerful way that we can build bridges instead of walls. Amen.
Thank you.
This song is, it's one of the most beautiful gratitude songs I've ever heard, I think. And it comes from a prayer book from the Reformed Jewish movement. So it's called Days Pass. Days pass, years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing, our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we are that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. How filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Days pass, years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing, our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Wherever we are, let the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. How filled with awe is this place? Help us to see it. Help us to see it. Days pass.
I am so grateful that when you come, Leo, you bring such a diversity of music that we may not have heard before. Thank you for finding that song. Wow, beautiful. Thank you. We're going to have a time of offertory here shortly. So as you prepare your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are. And as you're writing out your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out. I'm going to light the candle here and there, and that's available to you if you'd like to light a candle either for yourself or a loved one and say a little prayer. And also the candle in the burning bowl is available if you'd like to take a slip of paper and write something on it that you want to release into the flame. That'll be available to you also. But if you would lead us in I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Okay. Could we have the usher and Jamie, could you come forward representing the chaplains? And we're going to say together as a congregation the blessing on the screen and bless this offering. So together. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and I receive with gratitude. Thank you, God. Thank you. All right. Good news. I am going to lead off with something that might not seem like good news. Yesterday, somebody backed into me in a parking lot, backed into my car, dented my car, and chipped the paint. And of course, it was kind of upsetting and a shock. But I am grateful. I was not injured. The damage wasn't far worse to my car. And the other party was, a pleasant individual who, was cooperative. In other words, the situation could have been much worse. So I'm grateful for that. Does anybody else have any good news that they'd like to share?
I do.
Leo.
Yes. My son, who is 38, had just turned 38 a couple days ago, he and his wife are expecting a baby in March, which will make me, for the first time, a grandfather.
Wonderful experience.
Cindy?
I just wanted to mention real quick for those interested in the monthly astrology classes that Suzanne does. She's doing one next Tuesday, the 28th, because we're skipping December with it being such a busy month. So if you wanted to catch the next class, it's this coming Tuesday. Thank you.
Yes, and just a reminder for our Course in Miracles group, since Thursday is Thanksgiving, we're going to skip that Thursday. But you probably knew that. Okay.
One more.
Oh, okay. Yes, Sally?
I just want to mention that my friend Dennis, our friend Dennis, has decided to stop in here this morning. Pops in once in a while, and yesterday, he used to live at the Vintage where I live, and so we had a nice long chat, and he said he might make it today, but he's going to a wedding, not his. So
He's grateful for that.
Something to be grateful for.
And Dennis Blank is a past board president of our church. Welcome, Dennis. We're glad when he comes to visit us. So that's great. Okay, Food for Life. We have a program where little lunches to go to the homeless. And Charlene and Jim Bryan lead the way on that effort. But anyway, every week we offer the opportunity for somebody to take the bag and put some non-perishable items in it. Think lunch items, easily portable things. Thank you, Jamie. And they bring the bag back the next week, and anyway, it goes to the people who are homeless.
I'm grateful for Walmart.
He's grateful for Walmart. Okay, wonderful. All right. So, did we have any children in? No children in the Sunday school today. Okay. Well then, now it's time to stand up and sing our peace song and have our closing prayer. So, grab a hand.
The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are,